Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jo and I am a crime fiction, thrillers, Nordic noir, that kind of thing reader from the UK. And today I have another book review, or maybe it'll be a book rant if I don't enjoy the book. The last review that was on this channel definitely fell into the rant category, and if you haven't seen that, I will leave it linked whichever way it links up there. So today's video is all about the latest Ragnar Jónasson book, Outside. Ragnar Jónasson is possibly my favourite author at the minute. I am a huge fan of Icelandic authors in general, but I think Ragnar Jónasson's Thor series, they're just amazing. I love them all, so yeah, I think pretty confident in saying he's my favourite author at the minute. Outside is a standalone book, and this is the second standalone book that he's published. Let's go on a tangent already. I keep seeing references to a third standalone book called White Death, and it says that it's available in English, but it has got a 2023 publication date. I think the Icelandic publication date was like 2019 or something. So I feel like if it's got a 2023 publication date and it's been published by Penguin, I should be able to find somewhere to pre-order it, right? Can't find it anywhere. So then I was like, well, is it actually that it's not available in English? Is it like the website I was reading was incorrect? And I don't know. So I think this is certainly the latest book that I've been able to get my hands on. So if White Death is out there, it's eluding me at the minute, but I will find it. Maybe it is just out really later this year, so there's no pre-orders for it yet, but yeah. Anyway, back to the actual point of this video. Outside, the latest book and the second standalone book that Ragnar Jónasson has done. Outside is the 11th Ragnar Jónasson book that I've read. I only started reading his books possibly in lockdown in 2020. The books are not like fast-paced, sort of, you know, in-your-face action. They're more about the characters and the scene setting, and that's possibly why I love them, because it's been said on many a review on this channel already about characters and character development and character backstory, something that is important to me as a reader. So that's probably why I enjoy his books so much. But before I sort of just go off on yet another tangent, because we're probably like 2 minutes into this video and I've already been off on one, I should start by saying what the book is actually about. So what is the book about? Outside tells the story of 4 friends who are out hiking in the Icelandic countryside when the weather takes a turn for the worse. In a complete whiteout of a snowstorm, they end up taking shelter in one of the emergency huts that are dotted throughout the countryside, and it's basically a survival story of, can they survive the night in this hut when the weather's against them, old grudges are coming to light, and there's also a mysterious stranger, because of course in the middle of nowhere they are not alone. That is basically the premise of the story, and I can't really say more than that without giving huge spoilers for the entire book, and I'm not going to do that, so that's as much background into the story as you get. So what did I think about this book? I really enjoyed this book. I don't know if it's something to do with the fact of visiting Iceland so many times and the fact that we have amazing friends who have taken us on adventures out into the middle of nowhere, where we have seen random little huts like the one described in this book, that it's really easy for me to picture. We've also been in some absolutely terrible snowstorms when we've been to Reykjavik and like the surrounding areas. There's a saying in Iceland of if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, because that's how quickly the weather can change. And we've had it where we've been on organised tour groups with like a full, like just a normal bus full of people, and the bus has literally had to pull over in a lay-by because the snow has just come from nowhere and it's so bad the driver had zero visibility. So having experienced the weather and things, I feel like it was a lot easier for me to get into this book because I had the real life experiences to like know exactly what Ragnar Jónasson was describing. One of the things that I really like about his books and I am about to say what I think is probably a huge oxymoron, but it's his ability to make you feel really claustrophobic whilst describing vast open spaces, which I guess is like kind of like an agoraphobia, but it's the oppression of the space, if that makes any sort of sense. A lot of his books have that, whether it be describing like fjords in the north of Iceland, or like this book just describing the countryside and the emptiness of it. It's that claustrophobia that really adds to the intensity of the book, and this is probably one of the best examples of where he's used it. The narrative within this book switches between the four friends, but there are also time hops. I feel like that has kind of become a recurring theme of the books that I've been reading lately, but I think out of all the books on this channel that I've reviewed that have that switching narrative and time hops, this is by far the best use of that technique. The switching between characters it's not seamless because they're split into chapters, but it's seamless in terms of the flow of the story, so it doesn't feel super disjointed or that you're like getting confused or anything like that. Everyone is continuing the story like in a natural way, even when there are the time jumps in it. So yeah, it's just the by far the best use of that technique that I've read recently. The ending of the book came very quickly, but also didn't feel rushed. I feel like this entire video is just me contradicting myself with claustrophobic outside spaces and quickly approached endings but not rushed, but hopefully you know what I mean. Like the ending didn't sort of sneak up on me, but it also was in a very short space of time in terms of chapters. The reason why I don't think it felt rushed for me is from the moment those four friends found the hut and were talking about surviving the night and waiting for the snowstorm to blow over, I feel like the story was always time boxed, so you always knew that as soon as the weather picked up again and was like better weather or the night was over, you always knew that that was where the story was going to end. That's kind of the impression that I got from it. So as soon as there was the first mention of the storm seeming to ease, I was like, okay, this is it. This is where the final approach to like the finale is now. So it never felt rushed to me, but I have seen some people say that they felt like it was just completely rushed and just thrown in. But yeah, personally, I didn't feel that at all. I feel like the characters in this book are very believable. One thing that Ragnar Jónasson does really well is having complete character backstories. Like, I feel like if I ever met him, I could go up to him and say, what was the character of Daniel doing on the 7th of April 1999? Like, I feel like he would know, sort of like, oh, 1999, he would have been this many years old, he would have been like at this point in his life. That level of detail is something I get from every single one of his books, and this one is no different. Descriptions of the characters, whilst they feel like they're just plot descriptions sometimes, they're also giving you an insight into the character. One of my favourite parts, I'm not sure if you'd necessarily count him as a main character when it's 4 characters, but we're going to call him the main character for now, Daniel. He is Icelandic but has been living in London and is an actor, and there's an entire section about how cold he felt because he was so unaccustomed to the temperatures in Iceland now because he's been living abroad so long. And the way that he described like the feelings of the character to give you the backstory into what he's been doing with his life, but then also into how cold, like he didn't just sort of go, it's cold. He described the temperature in like a really beautiful but terrifying way. Like you could feel how cold Daniel was feeling through the writing. Not sure if that makes any sense, but yeah, I basically read it and felt cold. Again, is that because I have experienced that absolute level of cold where the cold seems to be trapped between the layers of clothes that you're wearing, and you end up thinking, I need to take this jumper off to free some of the cold so that I can then put something else on. I don't know, but the way he described the character and how the character was feeling was just perfect in my mind. I also think his descriptions of the character Gunnlaugur, that is a character that is a very difficult character, but he made me feel both hatred and pity towards him within about 3 chapters. Like just the swings that of emotions that I was feeling towards him. And yeah, I'm not sure what side I'm ultimately on there, whether I hate him or I just complete and utter pity for the character. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if there should be an answer to it without giving spoilers. And yeah, I'm not sure on him, but again, that's like testament to the writing within the book. So I do think that this isn't my favourite Ragnar Jónasson book ever. However, it is not a bad book at all. I am going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it, but I think if this was the only Ragnar Jónasson book that you were going to read, there are better books, even ones that are part of a series, because a lot of the books within his series could still be read as standalone books. And yeah, I think, you know, if you literally were like, I am only going to ever read one of his books, this wouldn't be the one that I would pick. But it is not a bad book at all, and that's why it's getting 4 out of 5 stars. I do think I could happily read this book again. So yeah, maybe 4 out of 5 is harsh. No, I'm sticking with my 4 out of 5. But very, very much recommend Outside by Ragnar Jónasson. Yeah, so I guess this turned into a book review, not a book rant. Maybe the next one will be a rant, who knows. If you've read that book or any of his other books, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of them. And if you want to see more book reviews, hauls, general book videos, then hit the subscribe button down below as well, because I would really like to get to 50 subscribers. That'd be nice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!